Hello and welcome back to Amazon Web Services Demystified, featuring compute services with your host, Alston Godbolt. Today we are going to create a WordPress website. This WordPress website is going to be created via an EC2 instance, and we're actually going to use an AMI found on the AWS Marketplace. So let's get started. So what you see here are the steps that we'll take to create this WordPress site. First, we'll log into Amazon Web Services. We'll navigate to EC2. We'll click that Launch Instance button, and then basically follow the steps of going to the AWS Marketplace, searching WordPress, selecting WordPress certified by Bitnami, click Continue, and then the next steps are very similar to what we did in the last tutorial. We will follow those steps to launch an instance, configure a security group, review and launch, and then once the EC2 install is complete, we will log into the WordPress site using the public IP address, and then we'll make some changes once we log in as an administrator. For the username and password, when we get to the administrator, the username will be user, and the password is actually found back on the AWS console, and I'll show you where that is. And once we have done all those steps, we make a few changes in the WordPress site, we will terminate the instance. But before we begin, we need to make sure that we're either logged in as the root user or a user that has full EC2 access. To verify that you have a user or a role that has full access, follow the steps of going to AIM, that's Identity and Access Management. Either create a user or view the policies for a created user, and then make sure you have administrative access. So as you can see, I am here at the AWS main console. We are going to click on EC2. As you can see, I have 0 running instances. The next step is we're going to click Launch Instance. And then instead of selecting the Amazon Linux AMI as we previously did, we are going to click on AWS Marketplace. Here we are going to search for WordPress. Hit enter, and then here are your options. We're going to select WordPress certified by Bitnami, this first one here. We are going to click select, and then this page is actually the breakdown page based on the instance type, the cost that you can expect to pay per month. This doesn't really apply to us because as soon as we're done making modifications, we're actually going to terminate the instance. So we're just going to click continue, and then this part is very similar to the last EC2 instance we created. We are going to leave the general purpose free tier eligible T2 micro selected. We're going to click next. This we're going to leave all default. Make sure the VPC is set to default. We're just going to select, you can select either subnet. I'm going to select 1A again. Make sure that auto assign public IP is enabled. Everything looks good. We'll click add storage. We do not need to make any changes here. We'll click next. Once again, you can choose to add tags if you'd like, but that is not mandatory. All right, so click next for configure security group, and it looks like the Amazon Marketplace Bitnami AMI has already created a default security group for us, and so we're just going to leave everything as is. Once again, you have the SSH access and port 22, and it allows input to port 80 and 443. That's HTTP port 80 and HTTPS port 443. So next we're going to click review and launch. This is just a one-page summary of everything that we have selected. Now, when you click launch, very, very important. In the last tutorial, we actually downloaded a key pair. For this tutorial, we're actually going to select proceed without a key pair. If you do not select this option, you will not be able to continue. You'll receive an error when you try and log in to your WordPress site. So now that we have done that, we're proceeding without a key pair. We acknowledge. Now we're just going to click launch instance, and it should probably be about 5 or 7 minutes. And once everything is up and running, we can log into WordPress. So let's click view instances in the bottom right hand corner, and you can see that it's pending. If we just click the public IP address, similar to what we did last tutorial, and I enter that in, it should throw an error. Site cannot be reached. So I am just going to pause this video until the status checks come back 2 for 2. So it'll be just a moment. All right, so our status checks are 2 for 2. What I'm going to do now is just go over to the web page that we opened previously. This is the public IP address that is listed under the EC2 instance, and I'm going to click reload. Let's see what happens. And there you have it. We have created a WordPress site via Bitnami. So that is the first half of this tutorial. Next, what we need to do is we need to log in as the administrator or user in order to make any changes or modifications to the site. So what we need to do next is go back over to the EC2 instance, click Actions, go down to Instance Settings, and go to System Log. Now, what you'll find, or what we're looking for in the system log, is the password. So, and I believe it's very close to the bottom. We'll just keep scrolling here. We're getting close. All right, here we are. So, what we're looking for is a setting Bitnami application password 2. We actually want this series of letters and numbers. So we just copy that. We'll go back over to our WordPress blog. We'll type /admin. That takes us to the admin page. The username is user, and that password is the password we just copied over. So we'll click login. So we'll copy that over. Paste, and there we go. Not sure what I did before, but it worked that time. So now we are in the admin page. We can make changes. Let us change the appearance. So I'm just going to click on appearance, and we will activate the 2015 theme. Now, I'm sure you're wondering why I chose to use WordPress. Recently, there was an article that said 25% of all websites are WordPress websites. So if you're looking to become a freelancer or transition into the web development space, knowing how to create an EC2 instance that uses WordPress is a nice skill to have. So now that we have done that, let us go visit the site, and we see that we have changed the theme. So really that's it. We created an EC2 instance using the AWS Marketplace Bitnami, WordPress for Bitnami. We logged into the system log to access the admin page. We made changes. All right, so the final step, now that we have created the WordPress site, is to terminate the instance. Once we terminate the instance, we'll no longer have access to the WordPress site. That site will disappear completely. It'll actually go from this to page cannot be displayed. So in order to terminate that instance, we'll just click Actions, Instance State, and then click Terminate. Gives us a warning that nothing will be saved, and that's fine. Yes, terminate. And so while that instance is shutting down, if we click refresh here, it says the site cannot be reached already. Click refresh here, site cannot be reached. It means it is terminating. That is it. It's a very short lecture, but it's a very short tutorial, but it's a very useful skill to have. In the next lecture will actually be the conclusion and recap to the EC2 instance. So thanks, and we'll see you next time.